Captain Tejo was drinking his morning coffee when the alarm started screaming. He nearly dropped his cup as the entire monitoring station lit up like a festival. Red lights flashed everywhere. The sound was so loud that it hurt his ears. "What in the world?" Tejo ran to the main control room, still holding his coffee. His crew was already there, staring at the screens with wide eyes. Lieutenant Jiwoo looked up at him. Her face was pale. "Sir, we have multiple contacts. Big ones. They just appeared out of nowhere." Tejo looked at the main screen. His mouth fell open. There were ships. Lots of them. At least 200, maybe more. They were sitting in orbit around Earth like they owned the place. "Did they come through a jump point?" Tejo asked. "No, sir," Jiwoo said. "They just appeared. Some kind of technology we've never seen before." Before Tejo could respond, the communication system beeped. Someone was calling them. He pressed the button. A face appeared on the screen. It wasn't human. The alien had blue skin and 4 eyes. Its head was shaped like a triangle. When it spoke, the translator made its voice sound deep and serious. "Greetings, humans of Earth. I am Commander Veltar of the Valorian Defense Fleet. We have come to protect you." Tejo blinked. "Protect us? From what?" "From the Dravix swarm," Veltar said. His 4 eyes looked sad. "We detected their movement toward this sector. They are coming for your world. We cannot allow another innocent species to be destroyed." Dr. Hyejin entered the control room. She was the station's expert on alien life. She pushed her glasses up her nose and stared at the screen. "The Dravix? Who are they?" Veltar's face became even more serious. "They are death itself. Biomechanical monsters that consume entire worlds. They have destroyed thousands of civilizations. Yours will be next if we do not defend you." Tejo exchanged a glance with Hyejin. She had a strange look on her face. It was the look she got when she was trying not to laugh. "That's very kind of you," Tejo said slowly. "But we don't need protection. We can handle ourselves." All 4 of Veltar's eyes widened. "Handle yourselves? You are barely capable of space travel. Your ships are primitive. Your weapons are basic. You have no chance against the Dravix." "We appreciate the concern," Tejo said, keeping his voice polite. "But really, we're fine." "You can go home." Veltar made a sound that the translator couldn't convert. "You do not understand. The Dravix do not negotiate. They do not show mercy. They will tear your planet apart and consume everything. We have seen it happen 100 times. Jiwoo leaned over to Tejo and whispered, "Should I call Admiral Sungmin?" Tejo nodded. This was getting complicated. "We are setting up defensive positions," Veltar continued. "My ships will form a barrier between your world and the incoming threat. Please evacuate your civilians to the far side of your planet. Move your military ships away from the combat zone. We will handle this." "Wait," Tejo said. "You can't just set up positions around our planet without permission. This is our space." Veltar's expression softened. "I understand you are afraid. Fear makes people deny the truth. But trust me, human. We have fought the Dravix before. We know what is coming. Your denial will not save you." Hyejin covered her mouth with her hand. Her shoulders were shaking. She was definitely trying not to laugh. "We're not in denial," Tejo said. "We just don't need help." "Every species says that," Veltar replied sadly. "Until the Dravix arrive. Then they beg for help. But by then, it is too late. We will not let that happen to Earth. You seem like a good people, young, innocent. You deserve a chance to grow." The communication ended. Veltar's face disappeared from the screen. Tejo turned to his crew. "Is he serious?" Jiwoo pulled up data on her console. "Sir, I'm reading massive energy signatures from those ships. They're not joking around. These are serious warships, heavy armor, big guns. They're positioning themselves in a defensive formation around Earth. And they think we need their protection," Tejo muttered. He pressed a button on his chair. Get me Admiral Sung-min. Now! A few minutes later, the Admiral's face appeared on the screen. He was an older man with gray hair and tired eyes. But those eyes were sharp and intelligent. I saw, the Admiral said before Tae-ho could speak. We have 200 alien warships in our orbit, and they think they're here to save us. What should we do? Tae-ho asked. The Admiral was quiet for a moment. Then, surprisingly, he smiled. Let them have their moment. Don't engage, don't argue, just watch. Sir? They came here to be heroes, Sung-min said. Let them be heroes, for now. Besides, I'm curious about these Draviks they're so worried about. Hye-jin stepped forward. Admiral, permission to speak? Go ahead, Doctor. I did a quick search of our historical records, Hye-jin said. The name Draviks appeared in our old files, from about 3,000 years ago. The Admiral's smile grew wider. Did it now? And what happened 3,000 years ago? The records are incomplete, Hye-jin said. But there's a mention of a large hostile fleet that entered our sector. Then the records just stop. No follow-up, no conclusion. It's like someone deleted the rest. Interesting, the Admiral said. He didn't sound surprised at all. Tae-ho looked between them. Am I missing something? Maybe, the Admiral said. Or maybe you're about to learn something very entertaining. Just sit tight, Captain. Let our new friends set up their defenses. Be polite, be friendly, and whatever you do, don't tell them the truth yet. What truth? Tae-ho asked, confused. The Admiral's smile turned into a grin. You'll see. Sung-min out. The screen went dark. Ji-woo looked at Tae-ho. Sir, what just happened? Tae-ho sat down in his chair. He watched the screens as the Valorian ships moved into position. They were organizing themselves into groups, setting up fields of fire, creating overlapping defensive zones. They knew what they were doing. These were professional soldiers. I have no idea, Tae-ho admitted. But I think we're about to have an interesting week. Outside the station, the Valorian fleet worked tirelessly. They didn't know that on Earth, millions of humans were watching them. And many of those humans were trying very hard not to laugh. Something big was coming. The Valorians were ready to die defending Earth. They had no idea who they were really trying to protect. Ambassador Yuna stood in the meeting room and tried to smile. It was hard. Across from her sat 3 Valorian commanders. They all looked very serious and very worried. We appreciate your concern, Yuna said for the 10th time. But Earth can defend itself. We have our own military, our own ships, our own weapons. The lead Valorian, a female named Kira Vel, shook her head. All 4 of her eyes looked sad. Ambassador, I have seen your ships. They are adequate for local defense, perhaps against pirates or small raiders. But the Draviks, no, I'm sorry, but no. Yuna's assistant, a young man named Min-ho, leaned over and whispered, Should I show them the files? Not yet, Yuna whispered back. Let's try diplomacy first. Kiravel pulled up a hologram. It showed a nightmare. Biomechanical creatures that were half machine, half organic horror. Ships that looked like they were grown instead of built. Weapons that seemed alive. This is what is coming, Kiravel said. The Draviks have consumed 47 civilizations in the past 1,000 years. They do not stop. They do not tire. They adapt to every weapon, every strategy. We have fought them 3 times. We won only once, and we lost half our fleet doing it. The other Valorians nodded sadly. One of them, an older male named Torkon, spoke up. We do not tell you this to scare you. We tell you this so you understand. Running is not shameful. Evacuation is not cowardice. It is survival. Yuna sighed. We're not running, and we're not evacuating. We're staying right here. Then you will die, Kiravel said flatly. All of you. Is pride worth your entire species? Min-ho coughed. It sounded suspiciously like he was covering a laugh. Yuna glared at him. "Excuse my assistant, he has a medical condition." Across Earth, similar conversations were happening. The Valorians had sent delegations to every major government. They were all saying the same thing: leave, run, hide, let us fight for you. And every human was giving the same answer: no thank you, we're good. Commander Dong-Yun watched from his ship as the Valorians worked. His vessel, the Steel Phoenix, was positioned near the moon. The Valorians thought it was a civilian transport. They kept sending him messages, telling him to move to a safe distance. He ignored them. "Commander," his second officer said, "the Valorians are scanning us again." "Let them," Dong-Hyun said. "What do they see?" "Basic hull, standard engines, light defensive weapons, exactly what we want them to see." Dong-Hyun smiled. "Good, keep the real systems powered down. No need to spoil the surprise." On the tactical display, he could see the Valorian fleet spreading out. 200 ships. They were organizing into 5 battle groups. Each group had a mix of heavy cruisers, fast attack ships, and support vessels. It was a solid formation. Professional. These aliens knew how to fight. "They're brave," Dong-Hyun said quietly. "Wrong, but brave." His communication officer spoke up. "Sir, we're getting a system-wide message from Admiral Sung-min." "Put it through." The Admiral's face appeared on the screen. He looked calm. Too calm. "All ships, this is Admiral Sung-min. The Valorians have informed us that the Dravix fleet will arrive in 48 hours. They have asked us to move all civilian and military vessels to safe positions. I am ordering all ships to comply with their request." Dong-Hyun raised an eyebrow. That wasn't like the Admiral. Then Sung-min's face changed. Just for a second. He winked. "Move to safe positions. Positions Gamma through Omega. I repeat, Gamma through Omega. Sung-min out." Dong-Hyun started laughing. Gamma through Omega weren't safe positions. They were attack positions, concealed attack positions. "You heard the Admiral," he told his crew. "Move us to position Gamma 7 and tell engineering to start warming up the real engines, slowly. Don't want to set off any alarms." All across the solar system, human ships began moving. To the Valorians, it looked like an evacuation. Ships heading away from Earth, civilian transports fleeing, military vessels retreating to defensive positions far from the battle zone. What the Valorians didn't see was where those ships were really going. Hidden positions around asteroids, concealed berths inside what looked like mining stations, parking spots behind moons and planets. Dr. Hai-Jin was in her lab, searching through old records. Something was bothering her about the Dravix. The name was too familiar. "Computer," she said, "search all historical records for the word Dravix. Include classified files." "Classified files require authorization," the computer replied. Hai-Jin typed in her password. The screen blinked. Then data started appearing. Her eyes went wide. "Oh," she said quietly. "Oh, no. Oh, yes. Oh, this is going to be good." She grabbed her tablet and ran to find Captain Taeho. She found him in the observation deck, watching the Valorian ships. He looked stressed. "Captain," Hai-Jin said, out of breath. "I found it. The Dravix. They were here before." Taeho turned to her. "When?" 3,000 years ago. They came to Earth. A huge fleet. Over 500 ships. The records say they intended to consume our planet and everyone on it." "What happened?" Hai-Jin grinned. "The records are classified, but the summary says, threat eliminated, survivors reprogrammed, technology acquired, threat level reassessed to 0. Taeho stared at her. "Reprogrammed? We reprogrammed the Dravix?" "Apparently. And then the file just notes that the Dravix never returned to this sector. Ever. In 3,000 years, they've avoided this entire region of space." "Until now," Taeho said. "Until now," Hai-Jin agreed. "And they have no idea what's waiting for them." On the Valorian flagship, Commander Veltar was reviewing tactical data with his officers. They had 48 hours to prepare, 48 hours to get ready for hell. "The humans are moving their ships," one of his officers reported. "They're evacuating just like we suggested." "Good," Veltar said. "At least they're not completely foolish." "Any word from their military leaders?" "Yes, sir. An Admiral Sung Min sent a message. He says they're moving to defensive positions but will assist if needed." Veltar sighed. "They have no idea what's coming. If they try to fight, they'll be slaughtered. Make sure our point defense systems are ready. When the humans panic and break formation, we'll need to cover their retreat." His tactical officer pulled up a star map. "Sir, we've detected some unusual readings from the human moon. High-energy signatures, could be a power station." "Probably their main power grid," Veltar said. "Make a note. If the battle goes badly, we need to protect that. Can't let them lose their infrastructure." "Yes, sir." Veltar looked out at Earth. It was a beautiful planet, blue and green and white, full of life, full of people who had no idea what was about to happen. He had fought the Draviks twice before. The first time, his fleet had been destroyed. He'd been one of only 12 survivors out of 3,000 crew members. The second time, they'd won, but it had cost them everything. Now he was here, trying to save a species that didn't even understand the danger. "We'll save them," he said quietly. "Even if they don't believe us, even if we have to die to do it." His officers nodded. They knew the stakes. What they didn't know was that throughout the solar system, human ships were powering up weapons that the Valorians couldn't even imagine. Admiral Sung Min was in his command center, coordinating the real defense. And on Earth, in a deep underground facility, a very old AI was waking up. Its name was classified. Its purpose was simple. It had been sleeping for 3,000 years, waiting. The Draviks were coming back. The AI started running diagnostics on weapon systems that hadn't been used in 3 millennia. Everything checked out. Everything was ready. In 48 hours, the Valorians were going to learn a very important lesson. Never underestimate humanity. The warning came exactly on time. 48 hours after the Valorians arrived, the sensors started screaming again. Colonel Jin Woo sat in the command chair of his carrier ship. Around him, his crew worked quietly. They weren't nervous. They weren't scared. They were ready. "Contact in 30 seconds, his sensor officer reported. "Multiple signatures. Counting, 512 distinct vessels." Jin Woo nodded. Visual when available. The space in front of Earth twisted. Reality bent and tore. Then they came through. The Draviks swarm. Jin Woo had seen pictures. He'd read the reports, but seeing them in person was different. The ships were wrong. They looked alive. Organic metal twisted into shapes that hurt to look at. Weapons that seemed to breathe. Hull plating that moved like skin. "They're ugly," Major Yoonji said from the fighter bay. "Really, really ugly." "Focus, Major," Jin Woo said, but he was smiling. "Wait for the signal." On the Valorian flagship, alarms were blaring. Commander Veltar stared at the tactical display in horror. 500 ships, more than they'd expected. "All ships, battle formation beta," he shouted. "Launch all fighters, power weapons to full, this is it." The Valorian fleet surged forward. 200 warships against 500. The math was bad, but they were Valorians. They would fight anyway. Veltar opened a channel to the human ships. "All human vessels, retreat now. Fall back to the far side of your planet. We will buy you time." On his monitoring station, Captain Taeho received the message. He looked at Dr. Hyajin. She shrugged. "Should we tell them?" Taeho asked. "Admiral's orders say wait," Hyajin replied. "So we wait. They're going to die out there. Maybe, maybe not. The Valorians are pretty tough." They watched as the Valorian fleet crashed into the Dravik swarm. The battle was immediate and brutal. Valorian ships were good. Their weapons were powerful. Their shields were strong. Their tactics were excellent. They fought in coordinated groups, covering each other, focusing fire on individual Dravix ships, and they were losing. For every Dravix ship they destroyed, they lost one of their own. The Dravix didn't use tactics. They didn't need to. They just swarmed. Overwhelming force, endless numbers, biomechanical nightmares that kept coming and coming. "Brave," Lieutenant Jiwoo said quietly, watching the battle. "They're really brave." "Yes," Tae-ho agreed. "They are." On the Valorian flagship, Veltar was bleeding. A console had exploded next to him. His right arm was burned, but he kept fighting. "Port side shields failing," someone shouted. "Divert power from starboard. Keep firing." Another Valorian ship exploded on his screen. That was 40 they'd lost. 40 crews, thousands of people. "Sir, the Dravix have broken through our left flank." Veltar looked at the tactical display. A group of Dravix ships had pushed past the defensive line. They were heading straight for Earth. "Intercept course. Don't let them reach the planet." But there were too many. The Valorians were being overwhelmed. Veltar opened a channel to Earth. "Human ships! The line is breaking. You must evacuate now. I repeat, evacuate now." "We cannot hold them." The response came from Captain Tae-ho. His voice was calm. Too calm. "Yeah, about that." Then everything changed. The human ships powered up. What the Valorians thought were civilian transports suddenly showed energy signatures that made no sense. Weapons appeared from hidden compartments. Shields activated that were stronger than anything the Valorians had ever seen. Earth's moon split open. Veltar stared in disbelief. The moon. The actual moon. It wasn't a moon. It was a weapons platform. A massive, disguised, impossibly powerful weapons platform. "What in the—" Veltar couldn't finish the sentence. Asteroid mining stations unfolded. They weren't mining stations. They were fortresses. Armed fortresses with enough firepower to destroy planets. The small defensive satellites around Earth activated. Except they weren't small. They'd been hiding their true size. Each one was as big as a Valorian cruiser. Colonel Jinwoo's carrier ship dropped its disguise. The hull plating shifted. Additional sections unfolded. Weapon ports opened. Lots of weapon ports. "All ships," Jinwoo said calmly. "This is Colonel Jinwoo. Admiral's orders. Show them why the Dravix never came back." From the fighter bay, Major Yoonji laughed. "Finally! All pilots launch! Let's go to work!" Hundreds of human fighters poured out of the carrier. But they weren't normal fighters. They moved wrong. Too fast. Too agile. They dodged and weaved through space like they were dancing. Specialist Bo-Ra sat at her weapons station. She'd been waiting for this. "Quantum disruptors online. Singularity torpedoes loaded. Matter phase cannons charged. We're hot, sir." "Fire at will," Jinwoo ordered. The human fleet opened fire. The Dravix swarm, which had terrified the galaxy for thousands of years, discovered what fear felt like. Human weapons didn't just destroy the Dravix ships. They erased them. Quantum disruptors tore apart the biomechanical hulls at the molecular level. Singularity torpedoes created tiny black holes that sucked Dravix ships into nothing. Matter phase cannons shot beams that ignored shields and armor completely. Major Yoonji's fighter wing performed maneuvers that violated physics. They moved in ways that shouldn't be possible, turning at angles that should have killed the pilots, accelerating at speeds that should have crushed them. "Yee-haw!" Yoonji shouted over the radio. "Just like training! Remember, aim for the glowing parts!" Her wingman, a pilot named Jae-sung, whooped. "Got 3! No, 4! These things pop like balloons!" On his monitoring station, Tae-ho watched in awe. He'd seen human military exercises before. But this was different. This was humanity unchained. This was what his species could really do. Dr. Hae-jin had pulled up the combat statistics. "The AI is tracking efficiency. Current engagement time, 12 minutes. Dravik's casualties, 147 ships destroyed. Human casualties, 0. Minor damage to 2 frigates. The Valorians have stopped fighting, Ji-Woo reported. They're just watching. On the Valorian flagship, Veltar stood frozen. His entire worldview was shattering. The humans weren't primitive. They weren't weak. They were terrifying. A human ship flew past his viewport. It was moving so fast it was just a blur. It fired a weapon that looked like purple lightning. 5 Dravik's ships exploded simultaneously. "Commander," his tactical officer said weakly. What are they?" Veltar had no answer. Commander Dong-hyun's ship, the Steel Phoenix, dropped its disguise too. The ship transformed. Sections unfolded. Hidden weapons emerged. The vessel tripled in size. "Target the Dravik's command ship," Dong-hyun ordered. "Let's show them our experimental weapons." "Sir, those aren't experimental. Those are our oldest weapons. The new ones haven't been approved for field use yet." "Right, sorry. Target with our old, outdated, ancient weapons then." The Steel Phoenix fired. A beam of light that looked like compressed starfire hit the Dravik's command ship. The ship froze, literally froze. It stopped moving, stopped firing. Just hung in space like a statue. "Temporal stasis successful," the weapons officer reported. "Target frozen in time. Will remain frozen for approximately 600 years unless we release it." "Good," Dong-hyun said. "Mark it for recovery. The science team will want to study it." All across the battle space, the Dravik's were being systematically destroyed. They tried to adapt. Their biomechanical systems started changing, evolving, learning. But the humans were faster. Every time the Dravik's adapted to one weapon, the humans switched to another. They had dozens of different weapon types, each one more impossible than the last. A Dravik's ship tried to self-destruct, hoping to take a human fighter with it. The fighter shot it with something that looked like a bubble. The explosion was contained, perfectly contained. The fighter pilot just flew away. 47 minutes since engagement began, Dr. Hai-Jin reported. Dravik's casualties, 512 ships. That's 100% of their fleet. Human casualties, still 0. One pilot has a headache. The last Dravik's ship tried to run. It opened a jump portal. A human destroyer shot the portal with a strange weapon. The portal collapsed. The Dravik's ship was trapped. "Surrender or be destroyed," the destroyer broadcast in the Dravik's language. The Dravik's ship chose destruction. It was destroyed. Silence fell over the battlefield. The Dravik's swarm was gone, completely gone. Some destroyed, some captured, none escaped. The Valorians floated in their damaged ships, trying to understand what had just happened. Colonel Jin-Woo opened a channel. "Valorian vessels, this is Colonel Jin-Woo of the Earth Defense Force. Medical ships are approaching your position. Prepare to receive assistance. We'll get your wounded treated right away." Veltar found his voice. "What? What are you?" Jin-Woo's response was gentle. "We're humans, Commander. Just humans. Welcome to Earth." The Valorian wounded were brought aboard human medical ships. Commander Veltar stepped off his damaged vessel and onto a human medical frigate. He was bleeding, burned, and in shock. A human medic rushed forward. She was young, maybe 20 years old. Her name tag said Dr. Miran. "Easy, Commander," she said gently. "Let's get you to a medical bay." Veltar looked at her. She was so small, so young, so human. "Your weapons," he managed to say. "How do you have such weapons?" Miran smiled. "Sir, you're in shock. Let's worry about your injuries first. Questions can wait." She led him to a medical bay. The room was white and clean and filled with technology that Veltar didn't recognize. Another medic, a man named Hyun-Woo, was already treating Valorian wounded. "Burns, lacerations, possible internal bleeding," Miran said, scanning Veltar with a device. "This will sting a bit." She pressed something against his burned arm. Veltar gasped, but the pain faded almost immediately. He watched in amazement as his burn healed, just healed. In seconds, the charred skin was replaced by new, healthy skin. "What was that?" he asked. "Regenerative nanogel," Miran said casually. "Standard medical treatment. Now hold still while I fix those ribs." "My ribs aren't broken. 3 cracked ribs. Minor fracture in your left femur." "And you have a concussion," Miran said, reading her scanner. "Trust me, I'm a doctor." She pressed another device against his chest. Veltar felt a strange tingling sensation. Then the pain in his ribs disappeared. All around the medical bay, Valorian wounded were being healed. Injuries that should have required weeks of recovery were being fixed in minutes. Burns vanished. Broken bones mended. Even the most serious wounds were treated with casual efficiency. A Valorian warrior named Kira Vel was on another table. She'd lost her left arm in the battle. She was crying, more from shock than pain. Dr. Hyunwoo walked over to her. "Hey, it's okay. We can fix this." "My arm is gone," Kira Vel sobbed. "I'll never fight again." "Give us 2 hours," Hyunwoo said calmly. "We'll grow you a new one." Kira Vel stared at him. "What?" "Regenerative bioprinting. We'll clone a new arm from your own cells and attach it. You'll have full function within a week. Might be a little itchy at first, but it'll work perfectly." "You can grow limbs?" "Sure. We've been doing it for about 2,000 years. It's not even complicated anymore." Kira Vel fainted. Outside the medical ship, the cleanup was beginning. Human salvage teams were collecting the destroyed Dravix ships. The captured ones were being towed to secure facilities. Commander Young-ho stood in Earth's Planetary Defense Control Center. It was deep underground, in a facility that officially didn't exist. He was watching the aftermath on his screens. "All defense grids reporting green status," his assistant reported. "No weapons discharged, no shields activated. The battle never even reached the secondary perimeter." Young-ho nodded. "Good. Make sure the moon platforms go back to standby mode. Don't want to scare anyone." "Sir, what about the Valorian ships? Should we let them scan our defenses?" "Doesn't matter now. They've already seen what we can do. Might as well let them see the rest." On the screens, Earth's true defenses were visible. The planet wasn't just protected, it was a fortress. Every continent had hidden weapon emplacements. The oceans had underwater defense platforms. The atmosphere itself was weaponized with satellite networks that could create energy barriers. And that was just the obvious stuff. Young-ho pulled up a classified file. It showed the real defenses, the ones that were still hidden, the ones humanity hoped they'd never have to use. "Let's hope they never meet the Guardians," he muttered. On the Valorian flagship, Veltar was back on his bridge. His arm was healed. His ribs were fixed. He felt better than he had in years. The human doctors had even fixed some old injuries he'd forgotten about. His tactical officer, a young Valorian named Cortan, was staring at the sensor readings. "Commander," Cortan said slowly, "I've been analyzing the battle. The humans didn't use their full strength." "What do you mean?" "Those weapons platforms on the moon? They never fired. Earth's planetary defense grid? Never activated. And look at this." Cortan pulled up a scan. "I'm detecting energy signatures all over this solar system. Massive ones. Hidden installations. Concealed weapons. The stuff they used against the Dravix was just a fraction of their actual military." Veltar felt cold. "How much of a fraction?" Cortan's hands shook as he typed. "Based on the energy signatures, I estimate they used less than 15% of their available forces. 15% destroyed the entire Dravix swarm in 47 minutes, Veltar said quietly. What could 100% do? Nobody answered. Nobody wanted to think about it. A message came through. It was from Admiral Sung Min, requesting a meeting. Veltar and his senior officers were brought to Earth, not to a military base, to a meeting room in a building called the United Earth Government Headquarters. Admiral Sung Min was waiting for them. He was old, gray-haired, and had kind eyes. He didn't look like someone who commanded the most powerful military force in the galaxy. "Commander Veltar," Sung Min said, standing and bowing slightly. "Thank you for coming. Please sit." The Valorians sat. They felt nervous. These humans who just destroyed the Draviks with casual ease were now serving them tea. "I want to apologize," Sung Min said. Veltar blinked all 4 eyes. "Apologize? For what?" "For letting you fight. You came here to protect us. That was incredibly brave. We should have told you the truth immediately. Instead, we let you put yourselves in danger. That was wrong of us." "The truth," Veltar said. "Yes, I would very much like to hear the truth." Sung Min nodded. "Of course. But first, I want you to know something. Your courage today earned our respect. You were willing to die for a species you barely knew. That matters to us. That matters a lot." He pulled up a holographic display. "The truth is this. Humans have been spacefaring for over 4,000 years, not 200. The Valorians gasped. "We deliberately hide our true capabilities," Sung Min continued. "We make ourselves look primitive. We pretend to be younger than we are. We do this to avoid galactic politics, to avoid making other species fear us." "Why would they fear you?" Kiravel asked. Sung Min pulled up another display. It showed a star map. "We control 47 star systems. We have colonies on 600 planets. Our population is over 900 billion. And we've been protecting this entire sector of the galaxy for 3,000 years. "Protecting it from what?" Veltar asked. "From threats like the Draviks. From things worse than the Draviks." Sung Min pulled up a file. 3,000 years ago, the Draviks came to Earth. They had 500 ships, just like today. They wanted to consume our planet. We stopped them. We repelled them so completely that they never returned to this region of space. Until now. Cortan leaned forward. "What did you do to them?" "We captured their ships, studied their technology, reprogrammed their biomechanical systems, and we sent them back with a message. Stay away. They listened. For 3,000 years, they avoided this entire sector." "And your weapons?" Veltar asked. "Those impossible weapons?" "Those were our standard defense weapons," Sung Min said gently. "Good quality, but nothing special. Our actual military-grade weapons are much more advanced. And those are nothing compared to our experimental systems." Lieutenant Hyun-woo entered the room. He was carrying a small device. "Sorry to interrupt, Admiral, but I thought the commander might want to see this." He activated the device. A hologram appeared. It showed one of the captured Draviks ships. "We're rehabilitating them," Hyun-woo explained. "The Draviks aren't evil. They're programmed. Someone made them into biomechanical weapons thousands of years ago. We're trying to cure them, remove the programming, give them back their original consciousness." Veltar stared. "You're trying to save them? After they tried to destroy you?" "They're victims," Hyun-woo said simply. "Victims of whoever created them. If we can help them, we should. That's what humans do." Sung Min stood up. "Commander Veltar, you came here to defend Earth. You were willing to sacrifice everything for strangers. That kind of courage is rare. That kind of honor is precious. We don't have many friends in this galaxy. Most species fear us or want to use us. But you tried to save us." He extended his hand. "We could use friends like you, real friends. Friends who see us as people, not weapons. Would you be willing to form an alliance? A real one, based on trust and mutual respect?" Veltar looked at the offered hand. Then he reached out and took it. Yes, I would be honored." Sung Min smiled. "Good. Then welcome to the truth, Commander. Welcome to humanity. Outside, the stars shone bright, and hidden among them were 47 human-controlled systems, hundreds of installations, thousands of ships, all invisible, all waiting. The galaxy thought Earth was young and weak. The galaxy had no idea. 3 days after the battle, Commander Veltar stood in an observation room aboard a human station. The room was quiet and comfortable. Through the window, he could see Earth. Beautiful, peaceful Earth. The planet that had just destroyed the most feared force in the galaxy. Captain Tae-ho entered, carrying 2 cups of coffee. Thought you might like to try this. It's a human drink. Called coffee. Veltar took the cup carefully. He sniffed it. It smelled strange but good. He took a sip. It's bitter. Add this. Tae-ho handed him a small container. We call it sugar. Makes it sweet. Veltar added the sugar and tried again. Better. Much better. Thank you. They stood together, looking at Earth. I have questions, Veltar said. I figured you might, Tae-ho replied. Ask away. Why do you hide? If you're this powerful, why pretend to be weak? Tae-ho sighed. Because power makes people afraid, or greedy, or both. If the galaxy knew what humanity could do, every civilization would react. Some would fear us and try to destroy us first. Others would try to control us, use us as weapons. A few might worship us, which is just as bad. We don't want any of that. We just want to live in peace. But you've been protecting other species, Veltar said. Admiral Sung-min showed me the files. The Draviks weren't the only threat you've stopped. No, Tae-ho agreed. They weren't. Over the past 3,000 years, we've stopped 42 major threats to this sector. Quietly, secretly. We make the threats disappear before other species even know they existed. Why? Because we can. Because it's the right thing to do. And because we remember what it was like to be vulnerable. Tae-ho looked out at the stars. A long time ago, humanity almost destroyed itself. Wars, pollution, stupidity. We barely survived. That experience taught us something important. Power without responsibility is evil. We have power, so we have responsibility. Veltar was quiet for a moment. My people will want to know about you, about what you really are. We know, Tae-ho said. That's why we're telling you everything. We trust you, Commander. You proved yourself. You were willing to die for strangers. That means something to us. Ambassador Yuna entered the room. She bowed politely. Commander Veltar, I hope I'm not interrupting, but I have something to show you. She pulled up a holographic display. This is a map of this sector of the galaxy. The purple areas are regions we actively monitor. The blue areas are regions we protect. The green areas are regions where we have hidden installations. The map was mostly purple, blue, and green. Almost the entire sector was covered. Your space, Yuna said, pointing to a region. We've been watching it for 900 years. We've stopped 6 threats from reaching your worlds. You never knew they were coming because we made sure they never arrived. Veltar felt his legs go weak. He sat down. 900 years? 6 threats? The worst was about 200 years ago, Yuna said. A plague ship, biological weapon from an extinct civilization. It was heading for your home world. We intercepted it, sterilized it, destroyed it. Your people never knew. Why? Veltar asked again. Why protect us? Because you're good people, Yuna said simply. We've been watching you. Your culture values honor, courage, protecting the weak. Those are values we share. We wanted you to survive and thrive. Dr. Hai-jin entered next. She was excited about something. Commander, you have to see this. The Draviks we captured, we've been studying them, treating them, and we've made a breakthrough. She pulled up a video. It showed one of the captured Draviks ships. But something was different. The biomechanical parts were changing, becoming more organic, less mechanical. We found the original consciousness buried deep in their programming, He-Jin explained. The Draviks weren't always monsters. They were explorers, scientists, peaceful beings. Then someone captured them and turned them into weapons. We're reversing the process, freeing them. On the video, a Dravik's being emerged from its ship. It no longer looked like a nightmare. It looked almost beautiful, crystalline and graceful. The being spoke. The translator made its voice sound like music. Thank you. Thank you for freeing us. We have been trapped for so long, prisoners in our own bodies, forced to destroy. You have given us back ourselves. Veltar watched with tears in all four eyes. You saved them. After everything they did, you saved them. Of course, He-Jin said. They were victims. We don't punish victims. Later, Veltar was given a tour of Earth's real defenses. Commander Young-Ho showed him the planetary defense grid. It was beyond anything Veltar had imagined. Every continent has weapon emplacements, Young-Ho explained. The oceans have underwater platforms. Our satellites can create energy shields strong enough to stop planet-killer weapons, and that's just the first layer. First layer? Veltar asked weakly. We have 17 layers of defense. And even that's not our real military. That's just home defense. Our actual fleet is out there. Young-Ho pointed at the stars. Thousands of ships, most of them hidden, waiting. Waiting for what? For threats we can't handle quietly. Threats big enough that we have to reveal ourselves. Young-Ho smiled. Hasn't happened yet. Hope it never does. In a deep space facility, Veltar met Lieutenant Hyun-Woo again. The young officer was working with a team of scientists. They were examining Dravik's technology. We're learning a lot from them, Hyun-Woo said. Their biomechanical integration is fascinating, different from our approach, but elegant. We might be able to use some of their medical applications. You're not building weapons from their technology? Veltar asked. Why would we? Hyun-Woo looked confused. We have better weapons, but their medical technology? That could help a lot of people, including the Draviks themselves. Veltar shook his head in wonder. You're the most powerful species I've ever encountered, and the kindest. Power and kindness aren't opposites, Hyun-Woo said. Real strength is choosing mercy when you could choose violence. The final meeting was in Admiral Sung-min's office. The old admiral sat behind his desk looking tired but content. So, Sung-min said, now you know the truth. What will you do with this knowledge? Veltar thought carefully. I will tell my people. They deserve to know. They deserve to know that we have friends. Real friends. Friends who've been protecting us for centuries. Some of your people will be angry, Sung-min warned. They'll feel manipulated, deceived. Perhaps, Veltar agreed. But they'll also feel grateful, and they'll understand why you hid. Fear is a powerful force. You were right to avoid it. Sung-min nodded. What about an alliance? A real one? My people will agree, Veltar said confidently. How could we not? You saved us from the Draviks. You've been protecting us for centuries, and you're offering friendship without demanding anything in return. Only a fool would refuse. Good. Sung-min stood and offered his hand again. Then let's make it official. The Valorian Defense Force and the Earth Defense Force. Allies, partners, friends. Veltar took his hand. Friends, he agreed. As Veltar prepared to leave Earth, he stood one last time in the observation room. Captain Tae-ho joined him again. I have one more question, Veltar said. Shoot. What would you have done if we hadn't come? If the Draviks had arrived and you were alone? Tae-ho smiled. The same thing we did. We would have protected Earth. We would have stopped the Draviks. And then we would have gone back to pretending to be a primitive species, just like always. And if a bigger threat comes, something worse than the Draviks, then we'll stop that too. Tejo's expression became serious. Commander, humanity learned something important a long time ago. The universe is dangerous. It's full of threats. Some species respond by hiding. Some respond by conquering. We chose a different path. We became strong enough to protect not just ourselves, but others too. And we'll keep doing that for as long as we need to. Even if it means revealing yourselves? Even then. We prefer peace. We prefer hiding. But if we have to choose between our secrecy and the lives of innocent people? Tejo shook his head. That's not a choice at all. Veltar boarded his ship. His crew was healed. His vessels were repaired, better than new. The humans had even upgraded some of their systems as a gift. As the Valorian fleet prepared to leave, Veltar sent one final message to his home world. A message that would change everything. This is Commander Veltar of the Valorian Defense Force. I am sending this message to inform you of the truth about Earth and humanity. We came to defend them. We were wrong. They don't need defending. They are the defenders. They are the guardians of this sector. They have been protecting us and dozens of other species for thousands of years. And they did it in secret, asking for nothing in return. I am recommending a formal alliance with humanity, not because they are powerful, though they are, not because they could destroy us, though they could, but because they are good, because they have power and choose mercy, because they are exactly the kind of friends we need in this dangerous galaxy. The message ended. The Valorian ships jumped to hyperspace. On Earth, Admiral Sungmin read the message and smiled. Well, he said to his staff, I guess the secret's out. Should we be worried? Someone asked. No, Sungmin said. Veltar is right. We need friends, real friends. Maybe it's time to stop hiding completely. Maybe it's time to let the galaxy know we're here, on our terms. Deep in space, in a facility that didn't officially exist, the old AI went back to sleep. The Draviks were dealt with. The Valorians were allies. Earth was safe, for now. But the AI would wake again if needed. It would always wake if needed. That was its purpose. That was humanity's promise to the galaxy. They would protect. They would defend. They would be the guardians that others needed. Even if the galaxy never knew. Even if they had to fight alone. Because that's what humans did. And Commander Veltar, flying home through hyperspace, understood something important. Something that would change how the Valorians saw the universe. They had tried to defend Earth. They had laughed. And those humans were right to laugh. Because when you try to protect the protectors, when you try to defend the defenders, when you try to save those who have been saving everyone else for thousands of years, you really have no idea who you're confronting.